Okay, so it is temperature blanket update time, and we actually got to do 4 days worth of green. Can you believe it? We got out of egg yolk and sunflower for 4 days. 2 of the days were from last week because we ended on mint green. So we had hunter green and then mint green. And then we got to add my other 2 shades of green, which are dusty green and I don't know if I'm pronouncing this right, but verdigris, Verdigris. Have no idea if I'm pronouncing that right. So it's been a busy week. I've been doing all sorts of things and still keep up with my temperature blanket, except my ends. I didn't work in my ends for this week, but it won't take me long to do that. So we had one person take us up on the offer to share their temperature blanket. Her name is Vicky. She is doing her blanket for the year 1975, the year her son was born, from Kansas City, Kansas, and she's using the moss stitch. And this is just a wonderful tribute to her son. And she's doing an absolutely fabulous job on her blanket. So if you would like to share your blanket with us, just send an email. I'll have it floating around here somewhere. And with just, very basic information, your name, location, whether you just want to say a state or a city or your country, whichever makes you feel comfortable. And if you just shoot me that email, we'll share it here on a video so everybody can see the differences between all the different areas, like Florida, Kansas, Germany, California, Montana, wherever you may be. So, for this week, we had a range of temperatures. We ended last week with 54 degrees. We started off this week with 57, jumped to 64, then to 71, 75, 77, 78, and then we dropped back down to 70. So I'm assuming, according to the weather report, they're only right half the time. We're supposed to be having another cold front come in. But who knows? Who knows? So I'm still attached. We left off with sunflower. I don't want to do it if I don't I don't want to disconnect if I don't have to. That just saves me that extra end to work in. So here is how it's looking. Egg yolk looks really orange. So we left off, let me turn it this way so I can hold it. We left off here with mint. Then the next color was dusty green. Then the one I can't pronounce. Sunflower, 3 days of egg yolk, and ended the week with sunflower. So I think that was interesting just to have that little patch of green, go from the highest green to the lowest green, and then work our way back up and jump straight back into sunflower. But it added a little bit of interest to it. So here's a side-by-side comparison, birth year versus current year. This will really start to get interesting in February because then you won't know what my birth year looks like because I just, got excited and worked ahead of the game on the historical year versus the current year. So far, what I see that is interesting is my birth year, many, many moons ago, we started off with the cooler weather. This is really warm. This is the next color after egg yolk. So then we go through a little bit of warm here, and then we drop down cold or cooler. The blue, that's cold. I don't know that we'll get to any blue in January on the current year. But you sit there, we started off cool. Here we started off very warm. And we had some warm. Here's a very warm day there. And this here stayed between 70 and 79. So the more yellowy color, the sunflower, that is 70 to 74. And the more orangey color, egg yolk, is 75 to 79. This down here, this is curry. It is 80 to 84. So then we come up almost right about the same time frame. We had a few cooler days. Over here we had a few more days that were cooler and some warming and then some cool. So the amount of coolness is definitely less so far for January of 2023 versus January of, I'll never tell. Maybe one day I'll tell, but my birth year. So definitely warmer than here. So that is your side-by-side comparison. I had a few people ask how to do the stitch that I'm doing because it's like an open mesh. So I'm going to insert a screenshot of the little chart, map, whatever you want to call it. This shows how to do the stitch with the multiples and everything. So I'll insert that in here. Okay, so we have 10 more days before February starts. And then everything will be a surprise on both sides of the comparison, you know, my birth year versus current year. And because it's interesting how this worked out. The year started on a Sunday. My calendar starts with a Sunday. So the first 3 weeks has been Sunday through Saturday. But we're going to end the month on Tuesday. So when we get to the 5th update, it'll be the ending of January and the beginning of February. So that'll make it kind of fun. There'll be some extra excitement if you think of a temperature blanket as being exciting. Okay, so that's all I have for you today for updates on my temperature blanket, and we'll see you again next week. But in the meantime, YouTube and I think you should check out this video right here.